Hey guys. So we are entering the first quarter square moon phase today. The moon in Capricorn is coming to the point in the sky, which will bring it to the first square from the new moon in Libra that we had last week. That moon in Capricorn making the first quarter square is also going to be aspecting both Uranus and Mercury simultaneously today. And so we may be getting some really interesting information coming through some way via the energetics today. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook for the day. And like I said, we have approached the time of the month where we are now in the first quarter square moon phase of this new moon in Libra cycle. The moon in Capricorn today, which is a cardinal sign that squares Libra, is going to be coming to the same degree in Capricorn where the new moon occurred, bringing us to that first quarter square phase of the moon. And if you watched my report yesterday, then you know the moon even being in Capricorn right now, considering that we just had both Saturn and Pluto stationed direct, is really activating and triggering both of these very powerful planets in their direct motion. And this combination of planets having just gone direct is really calling for some really fundamental power shifts and changes in power dynamics to be going on to things that have been set and established for a very long period of time. So this is sort of the underlying theme that we have going on all week, is these shifts and changes in long-standing, long-established power dynamics. And this can be in regards specifically with all of the Libra energy in terms of the relationships, the partnerships, the financial agreements in our lives. And it also may have to do with some type of authority figures or people who have been maintaining power over us in some type of a way because of the Capricorn emphasis and also Pluto being in Capricorn. So, and this is the first quarter square of the moon that we're dealing with today. Squares bring conflict, squares bring tension. This is the phase of the month or of the new moon, the lunar cycle, where if we look at it as a metaphor in terms of like planting seeds, and if you plant your seeds with the new moon, the first quarter square phase is when the little sproutlings are trying to like break through and bust up out of the soil. And so it tends to bring, more conflict and tension because that's not necessarily an easy process, but at the same time, it's promoting growth, and it's just necessary to go through this next stage so that we can really break through and begin to start growing what we planted, what we intended with the new moon energetics in Libra. So that is what the energy is right now coming down from the phase of the month that we are in. It is just this more tense energy that's pushing towards some type of breakthrough. And that is always the energy when we're dealing with a first quarter square. So tensions generally may be high today, especially again in relationships because of the planets in Libra and that we are in the Libra cycle right now. This is the Libra cycle. Venus rules Libra. Libra is all about relationships, partnerships, finances and financial contracts and agreements, and just generally how we are relating to other people, socializing, connecting with others. And we have the moon in Capricorn ruled by Saturn direct, who's also currently hosting Pluto. And Capricorn is very much about authority, okay? So these tensions, like I said, could be arising in regards to relationship dynamics that are shifting, as well as relationships with authority figures and shifting power dynamics in that regard as well. We are in the process of shifting, like I've said, as we break out of toxic power dynamics that have been at play for a long period of time, so that balance, the Libra cycle, can be restored with us internally and also externally in our lives, and we can come into a better alignment with our own personal authenticity and our own personal authentic truth, what we really need to feel a sense of true love across the board in our lives, basically. With Venus in Sagittarius right now, Venus in Sagittarius is really all about true love and the truth in love ruling this Libra cycle, okay? So verbal conflicts, arguments, are primed today, especially again, possibly with authority figures or in our interpersonal relationships with others. Also, people not seeing eye to eye on things today as well. As these power dynamics are shifting and changing, we may just find ourselves completely on a different page from somebody else who, we had been reading the same book up until this point in time, but it's like on the same page in the same chapter, but now all of a sudden we may be in the same book, but we are on like two totally different pages. That's sort of the energy that's coming through today as well. So just a side effect of these internal shifts and changes that are bringing us back into a better relationship with our own power. And as a result of that, causing us to sort of break out of situations where we've been giving our power away because we're realizing that we really don't need to do that anymore. And like I said, the side effects of these shifts that are happening internally and the ripple effect that they're having externally and the changes and the conflicts and the tensions that is bringing up so that we can bust through the surface, bust through these dynamics and start really growing and evolving towards the light down a new path that's much more in alignment with our soul's true personal self-expression, our personal authenticity, and again, with Venus in Sagittarius, the things that are going to bring us what we truly, truly love and value. And recognizing the truth of our own value as well with Venus in Sagittarius. Now, slightly before this first quarter square comes into effect, the moon will move to 14 degrees of Capricorn. Today we have Mercury at 14 degrees of Libra, going retrograde, of course. And we also have Uranus going retrograde at 14 degrees of Taurus today. So that means, like I mentioned in the beginning, that the moon, when the moon does come to 14 Capricorn, will be simultaneously making two aspects, one to Mercury and one to Uranus, while both Mercury and Uranus are actually in an aspect to each other. And it's interesting because they're both in Venus signs right now. Mercury retrograde is in Libra, ruled by Venus. Uranus retrograde is in Taurus, also ruled by Venus. And they're making the aspect that they're making together, being at the same degree in these two Venus signs, is called a quincux. And this is more of a minor aspect. And but it's also kind of a significant aspect. And we've been having a lot of quincunxes lately. And what this aspect does is it causes a tendency for things not to be congruent, not to be lining up, not to be like on the same page with each other. And with it being both Mercury and Uranus, both in Venus's signs, it's like today can bring with it like sort of bizarre information. Mercury rules information, Uranus can rule like the bizarre and the strange. And when they're in this quincux, that could be a more likely manifestation, just some very like strange, bizarre information coming through or communication that is coming through that sort of like maybe catches us off guard in some way or is surprising in its nature, but it also doesn't make that much coherent sense. That would be another theme to it with Mercury going retrograde. This also could be this quincux aspect. This also could be like an internalized mental tension or like an irritation with things on a mental level today that are just like not sitting right with us somehow. And, it may not even be something that we can specifically put our finger on, but it's just like this like mental irritation or just this like feeling that we have with these two planets making this quincux aspect. It could also be like possibly an awakening mentally or consciously to something today that again is like shocking to us in some way and that doesn't make much logical sense, but it's still like we have to acknowledge it and we have to take it because it's like, we're having these like revelations about things possibly. They're making us a little uncomfortable, sort of bothering us mentally, and they don't really make that much logical sense, but it is what it is kind of energy that's coming through with the combination of Uranus and Mercury, both retrograde, both in Venus's signs making this quincux aspect to each other. But because they're both referencing Venus and Venus is in Sagittarius, we know that it is ultimately for the purpose of, again, bringing us into alignment with the truth of our internal value, what we value and what we love. Venus today is at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. And for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you who are unaware what the Sabian symbols are, they are a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. Whenever a planet is at a specific degree, discharging an energetic making an aspect with another planet, we can look to the Sabian symbols to give us more information about the underlying purpose, the underlying cause of this energetic. Why is this aspect happening? It gives us more context and understanding the overall context of how this piece of the puzzle fits into this unfolding cosmic blueprint that is constantly and perpetually carrying us through time and space. And so I always like to reference the Sabian symbols when I'm looking at the energetics because they give us more clarity. And today Venus is at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, ruling both Libra and Taurus, where Mercury and Uranus are making this aspect. And that Sabian symbol is a game of cricket. So again, this is sort of talking about like things going back and forth. Like there may be some like strategy or some just like gameplay going on with whatever is verbally coming through, or just this like general sense of irritation today. Like we may be feeling like we just don't want to play games anymore, or like are done playing games in terms of trying to understand or coherently understand a situation. Maybe we are just sort of like laying down the like cricket stick or whatever it is that you use, and wanting to gain some greater clarity on something that is not so irritating or such like a game, in order to figure out what's really going on so that we can go in this new direction if we need to, if we choose to. But generally, with this aspect, again, it is just something not really making much sense. But back to the beginning when I brought this up, the moon in Capricorn is going to simultaneously be aspecting both these planets as well. And these are not minor aspects. The moon in Capricorn is going to be making big aspects to both of these planets. The moon in Capricorn at 14 Capricorn is going to trine Uranus at 14 Taurus. This is a really big, beautiful aspect that helps things to really fall into place, and it's an alignment. It brings things into alignment. It assists things in happening. And at 14 Capricorn, it's also going to be squaring, the moon is also going to be squaring Mercury. So the trine and the square are both major important aspects. And so with this, it's like whatever happens with this aspect, with this moon aspect today, is really realigning things properly. Because remember, the moon in Capricorn is making a trine to Uranus. Uranus is the great rectifier. Uranus puts things right. Uranus is like the galactic fixer. And when Uranus is making an aspect, especially a trine, especially with the moon, this is just an emotional cohesion to the adjustments that are being made, like things falling into place on an internal feeling level that we're kind of feeling comfortable moving forward down the path in alignment with these adjustments that are happening. So it's like Uranus is realigning things with this on an emotional level and assisting them into properly falling into place, but it might definitely also be bringing up some like cognitive dissonance today with the moon in square to Mercury simultaneously, or conflict between the thoughts, Mercury, and the feelings, the moon. It's sort of like, because the moon, again, like I said, this is our emotions. This is how we're feeling inside. And in this beautiful trine aspect with Uranus, it's really like bringing us into an emotional alignment with the shifts and the changes that are taking place right now in order to help us get back into the alignment with our truth and our authenticity, and like the true nature of our inner value that is helping us to come back into a better relationship to our own power, and is contributing to all of these power shifts that we're seeing simultaneously that are being described by the aspects as well. But it's like this emotional alignment that we're coming into today with Uranus, and with the shifting power dynamics generally, because that's what Uranus is doing all this year, all next year. The aspects that Uranus is making, Uranus rules Aquarius. Uranus is really trying to bring us all back into our authenticity, our originality, and our truth, so that we can really begin to grow and cultivate ourselves from that place, develop into our true potential, so that we can go out and serve humanity from that place of self-mastery and self-empowerment. And it just becomes this snowball effect where we are all just evolving to a level that is in alignment with the destiny that God and universe truly has for us, instead of just sort of falling back into the matrix and disregarding our potential and just trying to get by every day and never really becoming what we're truly meant to. That is what universe is sort of putting us into hyperdrive right now, which is causing all of these massive shifts and changes and shaking us out of our comfort zone, and all of the things, relationships, circumstances, mindsets, especially belief systems that have been binding us to a reality that is not conducive to that growth. It all has to go, it all has to change. And this shifting power dynamic right now is really integral in playing into that, because as we come into our power, everything has to change. All of the dynamics in our lives, all the circumstances, all of the pre-existing established patterns of control and power where we've given it away, where we've surrendered our power, the things that we've tried to overpower that haven't been good for us, all of that is really being rectified right now through the transits that are happening. And it is, Uranus is having a lot to do with that. And back to the energetic for today. Sorry for that little tangent, but we're just being aligned emotionally with these shifting power dynamics. But the result of that, with the moon in square to Mercury, may be bringing up conversations or thoughts or finding things out about things that upset the status quo and the balance in these pre-existing relationships and partnerships and financial arrangements and financial agreements and relationships to authority and all of those things, all of those themes that we've been talking about this whole report, upsetting the balance, the status quo and things, so there can be this rectification in order to rebalance the power dynamics in a way that is much more conducive to every party's growth and experience and ability to come back into that place of realignment. So all in all today, you guys, I really am thinking, this may not be like the most comfortable day ever, but it is a very productive day from like a spiritual perspective, from a higher perspective, regardless of the discomfort and the conflict and the fear potentially as a result of the discomfort that could come up in like our human, like 3D consciousness understanding and experience of things today, from like the higher fifth dimensional spiritual soul evolution level. It's a very productive day energetically. So that's really what I have for the energetics today, you guys. A little bit of a shorter report today. We don't have a whole bunch of like really hardcore aspects hitting today like we have so consistently lately, but it still is a very significant day just because of this breakthrough energy, this first quarter square, the moon emphasizing again Saturn and Pluto, squaring Mercury again, making this trine to Uranus, while Mercury and Uranus are both in the quincunx. Definitely could be getting some bizarre or weird information today, sort of catching us off guard and realizing we're really not on the same page as like some other people maybe that we thought we were anymore, and really starting to feel and reevaluate the power dynamics in our lives and consider whether or not we need to maybe stand up for ourselves in some type of a way. And we're being motivated to do that right now as well. And it's very, very supported. Also, now I want to talk about the tarot for a minute. I pulled some cards, or I shuffled out some cards this morning to ask Spirit to clarify the collective energy of the day today. And I got 2 cards spitting out, and these cards are interesting to me as well. The first card that we got was the 8 of Wands. This is all about some really actually quick forward movement. These wands are kind of being like thrown or like jetted, and they're like moving quickly. And then I got the Knight of Wands, and this is another card about like moving forward quickly, following your passions. And this is a wand card too. These are both fire cards that we got today, and they're both like, this is like quick movement forward toward your passions. And then on the back of the deck was the Page of Swords. And so this is really telling me, you guys, that like it's sort of emphasizing actually this moon in trine to Uranus in square to Mercury today, because it's like we're gaining these new ideas. Like we're getting these new ideas, right? We're sort of having these epiphanies about things. We're gaining some clarity about some things. And it's really like motivating us to move quickly in the direction of our passions and of what is inspiring us right now. This is a lot of fire energy, of course, and we do have the sun in a conjunction to Mars right now. That's a lot of fire energy as well. So it does seem like this aspect that we have going on today with the moon making the trine to Uranus, it's like it's awakening us to something, it's inspiring us, and we are aligning with it emotionally going forward. And we're feeling a little bit of like passion ignited, and we're deciding that based on this new inspiration, this new idea, this new clarity that we're receiving at this point in time, we're aligning with that, and it's motivating us to move forward in the direction of our passion. And like I said, we're inspired to really like start making things happen and to be doing it quickly. And you know, it's interesting, this of course is also like us doing this, going through this process, gaining this new idea, gaining this new inspiration, and doing this really is it is potentially leading to these same things, the shift in these power dynamics, and breaking us out of these toxic patterns, and helping us to move forward towards Venus and Sagittarius, another fire sign, our true passion, our true love, our true internal value. So it does appear today that collectively we are embracing the new ideas, this emotional alignment with the inspiration that we're receiving, and it's inspiring us to move forward down this new path despite the conflict that may arise. So I feel like we're doing good in terms of where we're at right now in this process. Now, I do have some extra time today, you guys, so I am going to pull us all a wonderful synchronicity message, and this message is going to be for everyone who is watching this right now. Doesn't matter when you're watching it. This is the little bit of advice and insight that God, universe, spirit wants us to have right now. And this card literally just turned over, jumped out of the deck. There's a lot of cards. Look at all these cards, you guys, in this deck. Like, there's a lot of cards in here. A lot. Look at all those cards. There is a lot of cards. I haven't been doing these synchronicity cards this long. I only received them a couple of weeks ago, and I've really only recently started using them, and this is the third time that this specific card has come out. Obstructions removed. It says, "Rest in me, I have gone ahead and removed every stone. God has gone before you and removed every obstacle. Any obstacle you now perceive is a product of your own imagination. Let go and let God lead you. There is no wrong action. There is only right action. Follow the leads which come to you." And this is, again, it's almost as though this is clarifying this, because there are no obstructions in this, like in the tarot that is coming out today. Like, we have an inspired clarity, an inspired motivation, an inspired idea, and we are motivated to pursue it, to take action toward it. And there's no obstructions really being indicated. And that is the message from God today as well, that the only obstructions that exist are those that are in our mind. And again, this is sort of bringing up the moon in the square to Mercury retrograde today, while the moon is simultaneously making this beautiful alignment to Uranus. Our path forward, our awakening process, our evolution back into original authenticity is being extremely facilitated, and we're aligning with that internally and emotionally today. And the only conflict that is existing is that between our feelings and our thoughts, the moon and Mercury retrograde. So the only thing that is really holding us back right now is any resistance that is coming from our own thought processes and the implications that those thought processes may have in our lives. So again, very interesting. This is the third time I've drawn this card in the past couple of weeks. So God and spirit are being very clear. All the obstacles to our ability to move forward and pursue our passions in alignment with the truth of our value, our authentic value, and what's really in our heart, the obstructions are being cleared. And the only thing that is keeping us back from that at this point in time is our own mind and any conflicts that are going on in our own mind. So the advice is to let go and let God lead you. Surrender your worry to the divine and have faith and trust that everything will be handled as it needs to and that things will fall into place. That is what is happening today with a trine to Uranus from the moon. Things are falling into place. And yes, we are in the first quarter square moon phase today, and that does generally indicate some conflict or tension, but universe is telling us that the only conflict and tension in this circumstance is coming from our own mind. So we can take that to heart today. That is the message from universe. That is the message from God. And this process is very beneficial in moving us forward in reclaiming our own power. That is really the theme of this week, and we're doing that today. Again, a very productive day on an energetic level, even though it may not be that comfortable, but we can take our advice and we can know that there really is nothing holding us back at this point besides ourselves. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested. The more the merrier. And leave me comments, you guys. I really love your comments. If you want to get a hold of me for any reason, astrology@gmail.com. I also have a Facebook page and a Facebook group if you guys are interested or into that as well. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. Let's see, what do we have tomorrow? We got more Pluto energy going on tomorrow, so there is even more shifts and changes in power dynamics, power issues being brought up tomorrow, and I'm going to talk all about it. So come back with me then, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and I will see you then. Bye.